Healing sound movement television. Healing sound movement television. Healing sound movement television. Healing sound movement television.
Hello, my name is David Avocado Wolfe, and welcome to Healing Sound Movement Television.
Hello, dear listeners, dear viewers. My name is John Consemulder for Healing Sound Movement Television, also radio, music, and events. Please check HealingSoundMovement.com, and our other website is worldpeacechild.com. And of course, go to doSound24.tv, where this TV show will be broadcast. I'll just mention the websites: davidwolf.com, of course, thebestdayever.com. I'm not sure if this one is going to be the best, because I think yesterday was actually, and ftpf.org. And there's also longevitynowprogram.com. So check it out. And your books, David: The Sun Food Diet Success System, Naked Chocolate, curious what that is, Amazing Grace, Superfoods, the Food and Medicine of the Future, and of course this book, Eating for Beauty. David, welcome to this show.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
And congratulations, because what a show yesterday.
Yeah, it was a show. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes.
To me, that's a show. That's what you pay for. You come in there to get entertained, to get educated, to have fun, to hear stories, to get excited, to meet like-minded friends and family. And that's what we had there yesterday. 600 people in from all over Holland.
Yeah.
I thought it was a real success.
Cool. Food matters, right? It's good. And it does matter. Like, to not think so is crazy. You are what you eat is not going to be going away anytime soon, is it? And it's a fundamental idea that more and more and more we're connecting it to our own health, our own success, our peak performance, our life, the value of our life in the years that we have. I don't know how long I'm going to live. I could get hit by a bus in 1,000 years. Are you guys ready for the best day ever?
Yes.
All right. Readers are leaders. I want you to write this down. Reading is sexy. Can you write that down for me? Reading is sexy. Reading activates genius. I will belt it out for 8 hours straight, and you'd be like, doesn't that guy's voice get tired? That's what my mom used to say. I said, Mom, one day it'll pay off. She's like, shut up. I don't know about you, but I'm not into plastic. You see what we've done to our oceans with plastic? Actually, what has to happen is they blow the plastic has to sit there for a year, then you put the water in it. Otherwise, the plasticizers, the BPA, you probably heard about BPA, is unstable, and it gets into the water. And that's why we have an epidemic of breast cancer, because BPA and the plasticizers trigger the hormonal reaction of bad estrogen, xenoestrogen or fake estrogen, that starts to trigger an imbalance of estrogen dominance. Because it's going to take everything you got to be everything you can be. What did Jim Rohn say? Success is a refined study of the obvious. How many people here have ever taken a vitamin? How many people here brush their teeth? You're a genius. You can do anything. You brush your teeth every day? Do you know how preposterous and ridiculous that is, that you brush your teeth every day? So the whole overlay is we just made it up. Your whole reality, you made it up. We are the dreamers of the dreams. Now people say, well, I did that and I didn't win. God's delays aren't God's denials. You create total organization and magic out of chaos by writing stuff down. That is, you're casting a spell, right? Because you spelled it out. And through your spelling, you're actually channeling information out of the universe that helps and supports you. So I'm asking you to become the lead superhero, the lead actress, the lead actor in your own movie. So you start taking command and saying, this is my movie. I'm sending it the direction I want. So you start writing out how you want things to go, like a story. Like this happens and that happens and this happens and I'm having the best day ever. Boom. The universe is not a mathematical equation. It's a story. And when you tell stories, then I want to know what your business does. For years and years and years, I have said to myself, today is the best day ever. 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 How do I have to act today for this to be the best day ever? What could happen today to make this the best day ever? How could I turn it around and go from this to that? How could I make it go from the worst ever to the best ever? How do we get to the best ever today, right now? Now this is problematic because it could be 4 in the morning. You're like, it's not the best day ever yet, damn. So this best day ever thing is the summation of all my research into personal development information, and I've employed it for 25 years, and it works. So you turn it over subconsciously to the higher power. So the higher power figures it out for you. Crazy hypersynchronicities, out of control situations, complete flip arounds of situations I thought were impossible, then suddenly it cracked out of it. I started putting that in my goals. Here's what it looked like. I eat the best food ever. I don't know what that is, but the universe will figure it out for me. Here's another one. I drink the best beverages ever. When I wrote that down 13, 14 years ago, I had no idea what that was going to bring to me. You cannot even believe what that brought to me. You can't. No way. Superfood smoothies, super herb smoothies, the best shaga teas you've ever had on earth, the best and most incredible healing drinks ever in the history of the world, the most powerful herbs from all over the world, all mixed down into one drink. Drink that. You're higher than a kite for 14 hours, having the best time ever with no hangover, no down, only the best ever by far, and better than that. Wow, right? So then I got into this. I drink the best water ever. Now that created a whole spring water revolution all over the whole planet. You want to get leverage, and this is important. Leverage. Doing a little bit, getting a huge result. Writing stuff down is the biggest leverage you got. It's the least amount of work for the most result. Actually, my goal on chocolate is the best chocolate ever is thrown at me. That's how it's written down. You guys ready to get into super new you? Thanks. Now we're going to get into super new you. Now, in the development of your being, as you develop from the embryonic stage all the way to where you are right now, you've ingested substances from our reality, from our waters, from our food supply. You've ingested the air that we're breathing, right? All that, and it's become you. And apparently, you are what you eat isn't going to be overturned anytime soon. This is actually a fundamental aspect of all living things, of all stars, of all planets, of everything. That everything is ingesting something, everything is absorbing something, and everything is excreting something. It's a fundamental aspect of all life. Of everything, of the whole cosmos. And what we're really going to be talking about the super brand new you is channeling over to the best things ever so that you remake yourself from the inside out and actually achieve your phenotype so that your genotype matches your phenotype. And now we can start to work on expressing that phenotype. Now, what we're finding out about that is that as we express our phenotype and we get in certain nutrients, it can feed back into the genotype, correct any problems in the genotype, and then re-express in the phenotype. That's really where we're at in our understanding. And that's totally possible. And my feeling is this. You give me another 15 years, I'll get you another 40. You hang in there another 15 years, I'll get you another 40 because of what I know. And I'm starting to see more and more and more where we're going with the whole evolution of nutrition. And that is, we're coming to a point where the longevity equation is going to be cracked. And, I might get hit by a bus in 1,000 years, but I also see a day when we're going to be 1,000 years old. I could see that happening very easily, actually. And you think, well, no. Well, let me tell you what Napoleon Hill said. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The days of martyrs are over. You don't need to sacrifice yourself. Get yourself sorted out. Then you automatically, guess what? Get other people around you sorted out. Then guess what happens then? It works its way out. So this is a real kind of aspect of that teaching that actually success is an inside job. It's really an inner work that we need to do. And when it comes to cleansing, detoxifying, and nourishing, we got to start working it. And the first thing to do is, when you get up in the morning, you got to get the purest water you can get on and start drinking water only in the morning, first thing. No food, no tea, no coffee. Remember that Food Matters film? Water. So it must have substances in it that are not gravitational but are actually levitational. That's just logic, it's obvious. And those substances are naturally anti-arthritic. They're anti-plaque forming, they're detoxifying, they're embryonic, they're young, they're new. It's not the tap water of youth, right? What is it? Fountains go. By the way, I've reviewed all this stuff. All the archetypes of longevity, I've really been looking into it, and man, there's something to it, really something on with that. When you start looking at the archetypes, you're like, whoa, okay, got it, yeah, The whole thing of the yogi upside down in the cave, take gravity, a toxin, turn it into a medicine, just flip upside down. I said that really fast. You guys are like, whoa, this guy talks fast. And when you start looking at this a little bit more closely, because water is the fundamental substance here. Cleanse, nourish, detoxify, water is the fundamental substance of life. And I like drinking living water. That came out of the earth yesterday. Coffee, what's he going to say about coffee? Is coffee okay? I hope he says yes, but probably not. He's probably really against coffee. What do you do before you drink coffee in the morning? Water. Yep, and a lot of it. Drink it to a saturation point. Now, if you drink lots and lots and lots of water, Batman Galich, in his book, Your Body's Many Cries for Water, found out that you need to drink water and salt. That we are not a river on the inside, we're not a lake. We're not a pond, we're an ocean. So it's important to realize, yeah, do a cleanse, get off all that salt, drink lots of water, flush the old salt out, then you're in a different place. So it's important to have the whole picture of all this. If you have hypertension, heart disease, if you have danger of a stroke, if you've been toxic your whole life, drink lots of water, no salt, flush the bad salt out, go for a year, 2 years, then you come to the other side of it, then you got to go, okay, now we go to the sea salt, and I found out this, because I did all that. I went years without any salt at all, bought into all that, and then I realized, wait a second, I need salt. Because I started craving it intensely. And then I came to this place where if I start feeling like a little bit of allergies coming on, or if I start feeling like that's how I feel if I get really, really wiped out. I'll get like allergies will come in. And then I found out that if I just take like that much water right there and heavily salt it, like 7-8 pinches of sea salt in there, really salty, and drink that, the allergy goes right away. The next piece on cleansing, nourishing, and detoxifying yourself to create the super brand new you is realizing that the best choices ever are available to you always, and always upgrade your choices. When we're born into this world and we start ingesting this world, right, digesting it, absorbing it, excreting it, that's the point that's most important to get the best quality nutrition, because we're building ourselves. One of the great keys to this whole thing, a great starting point, changed my life radically, is the whole idea of food combining. Instead of the fish, the rice, and that's it, like that combination, which is a bad combination. Ivan Pavlov was actually heavily interested in studying human digestion and actually the digestion of mammals. I Googled this all up recently. It was really interesting. And he found out, he was the first probably major scientist in the world to find out that to digest protein requires completely different chemistry, digestive enzymes and acids, than to digest carbohydrate. And both of them are assisted if you have a salad. Kuchkov found out that if at least 50% of your meal is raw, remember I was on Food Matters? 50% of your meal is raw, and then you have only one, like just the salad and the rice, or just the salad and the fish, but not all three together, that you digest it better. And that's a very big key. So let's put it into a real context. You're getting a sandwich. The sandwich usually has a big miscombination, doesn't it? Bread, meat, cheese. There's a clash right there. You got like a fat, a protein, and a carbohydrate. Now that's the first thing that I did And it just changed me, completely changed me, because all of a sudden I could digest food. Before there was something that wasn't digesting, and so then you'd have like gas. Who here really likes gas? I've done so many raw food lectures with no ventilation in the front. And then the raw food comes out. Half the people never heard of raw food, so they can't handle all this fiber and everything, so they're just eating all this stuff, and all of a sudden it's like 20 minutes later, it's like, uh-oh. Hour later, I'm like, oh my God. So we want to make sure that we are digesting our food properly, and one of the ways that we tell that is by the gas. If you're digesting properly, you don't have any gas. Here's what's amazing about live food. Once you're cleaned out, you get all the ropey bits out of here, which means all the cheese residue, all the meat residue, the bread residue, because it leaves it's like a callus. Until that day, you go and get a colonic, and all of a sudden, a 20-foot rope comes out. Let me do that in meters. 8-meter, 7-meter rope comes out, like that. Now, I got to show you this because you are probably getting hungry about now. It's been 18 minutes. 35 years of research has now indicated that that stuff carries an emotion to it. And once you get it out, you go, whoa, I'm into brightness now. You immediately brighten up. And it's like that with this stuff. It's something we're not detecting consciously until it's gone. It's experiential. And once you get the ropes out, your digestion completely changes, your digestive environment completely changes. And this is a lot of it's due to the really bizarre dairy products that we ate, homogenized dairy products where you take the dairy of 1,000 cows and mix it together. Look, if you're going to eat raw dairy from one cow, that's cool. But not 1,000 cows all mixed together, homogenization, right? Like you want dairy, great, have dairy from one cow, the way we've always done it. Raw. But when it's 1,000 all mixed together and then pasteurized, like, It's wild food and has minerals. There's an unwritten thing here in all of this. Wild food's better for you. Wild food has more minerals in it, and wild food has jing. What do I mean by jing? Essence, life force, primary life force essence. But you got to be careful that you don't lose jing. Sprout juice is amazing. Right? Seaweed, fantastic. All these incredible fruits and vegetables, wonderful. But they're not really jing primary essence builders. There's very few things that are jing builders. And these are treasures in the Chinese herbal system that we really pay attention to now. What are they? Well, let's go through this real quick. The best way to move energy is walking barefoot. Mark my words on that, by the way. If you look at the longest lived people in the world, they walk. You want to walk barefoot in the park. You want to walk barefoot on the ground. And that motion, barefoot, is actually allowing the energy to move from the earth through you when you're barefoot. And that is an energy exchange that has to be there. Actually, it's been found out that when you ground yourself, which means you electrically connect yourself to the earth, and it has to be either a skin-to-skin contact between you and the earth, or it has to be an electrical contact, like you touch a metal pole that's stuck in the earth, that the gases that come out of your lungs are different. That's really interesting. That means that there's something, now they're different for about 3 months, and then it goes back again, which means that until you're connected to the electricity of the earth, you're actually not, you're withholding something, or we're in a state of like, ooh. You think, what are you talking about? I mean, shoes, isn't that natural? What do you think? See, this whole shoe wearing business is really new. You guys had wooden shoes here, right? Wooden shoes. Man, that's got to be uncomfortable. We got better stuff now. Anyway, we could talk all day long about aerobics and yoga and everything. The best exercise for you is walking. That's what the research shows. If you look at the longest lived people, they're walkers, period. That's the story. And if they're barefoot, it's better because then you articulate properly. What was his name? One of the great doctors who researched this. He actually found out that when you're barefoot walking, you walk normally. Dr. Rossi. 65 years of studying the human gait, the human walk. He said, this is what he said. He said it's impossible for a shoe-wearing human to walk normally and naturally. It's impossible. But when you have your foot completely articulating properly, your spine feels that everything works. And you get electrically connected to the whole system. Very important idea here. Okay, so that's qi, right? Then we've got this idea of shen. The shen is your aura. It's like your glow, your charisma. And your shen is a heart energy. And these are treasures that you nourish inside yourself by foods you eat, by lifestyle, by thoughts, by emotion. Some of you be like, okay, he said chocolate was good, let's do that. He still didn't say anything about coffee, and it's been 21 minutes. Is he going to say anything about that? Let's look at the example of a candle here. Qi is the flame. Shen is the glow of the candle. But the big one and the key one for Western people is Jing. And this is where the longevity is. The Jing is the candle, wax. And it comes from your grandparents, according to the Chinese theory. This Jing, let's talk about Jing for a second. In Chinese medicine, the Jing-building foods are black foods. And to some degree, vegetarian food doesn't have the Jing that animal food has. That's important. The balance is, yes, you want to cleanse. Yes, you want to nourish. Yes, you want to detoxify, but you don't want to lose Jing. You do not want to lose Jing. All right. Okay, now we're going to get into this. Let's put up the Eating for Beauty cover. Now I want to talk about what we're going to do here with this food stuff. Because here's what's on the menu now. You go into that health food store, the Nature Winkle, you're like, what do we do? I've been wanting to say it for like a year. Every year I'm like, I wish I could just say Nature Winkle like 50 times. If we're going to eat it, let's try to eat it raw. If you're going to eat it, let's try it raw. Now, is there a raw potato chip? Which tells us something about potato chips. This is the raw cabbage. This is the cooked. All right, that's it. Thanks for being here, guys. That's all you need to know. There you go. This is carambola, starfruit, radish, mushroom. That's a button mushroom, nettle. You can see the energy that's going on, which is a little bit more than the cooked energy going on. Okay, let's go to the next one. And here we have olive oil. Huile d'olive, as they say in Paris. Huile d'olive. That sounds good. And this is lard. I bet you we had way too much of this in our life. One of the things you can take out of here is, he said never to eat lard again. Can we all commit to that? Here's what that means. It means no partially hydrogenated soybean oil. Here's what I'm saying here. No food with any stuff like that in it at all, ever. Like if you're reading a label, it's like, that's too late. Like we don't have to read labels. Like when I get a cauliflower, I don't have to read the label. This is the things that raw foodists make a lot of. This is really a fun product. Buckwheat groats, pumpkin seeds. This is hemp seed. And then it's all stuck together with like honey or something. It's like a muesli. This is Kellogg's Corn Flakes. I've been thinking about selling this to the U.S. military. You can just cook the food forever, make it disappear. Now that's telling us a lot, isn't it? It's telling us a lot about, it's a vibrational discrepancy. A friend of mine was getting a divorce. I said, why are you getting a divorce? He said, there's a vibrational discrepancy. And besides, it's a marital liberation. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is an instructive image. The hands of a raw foodist, the hands of a junk foodist. People who don't have auras can't see them. Which is kind of a metaphor. Let's go to the next one. Aloe vera. What a great house plant to have. We have many in my house in Canada. We're up in the cold. I'm an American, but I've finally moved north of the border. I'm not completely convinced that the politics of America are the best thing ever. Let me tell you something else, though. See, as you build up your Jing, you also build up that Tibetan Lama magic, which is that rite of passage where they take the Tibetan Lama and they sit them in the snow and they have to sit there all night naked. Do you know that rite of passage? And they have to melt the snow around them. Now, we don't even know what that means because we're so hypoglycemic. If we don't have food within like 3 hours, we're like, I'll kill you! Run you over! Some of you are like staring at that guy's butt. You're like, well, okay, all right. So all of this over time, eventually you build up an internal heat. And it's like, you think about a deer. What's a deer eating all winter out there? It's snow, rain, sleet, all kinds of wind. What are they eating? They're eating wild food and they're eating raw food. And so they build up an internal energy. It's a completely different type of energy than just calories. It's a different kind of energy. And it's more the energy of life. One of the things about all this, aloe vera, everything we're going to talk about, is it connects you to living. It connects you to life. And that automatically displaces fears of death. It automatically drives off fears of disconnection. It automatically reconnects you to the sacred. I bet you if we really dug down in everybody in this whole room emotionally, the one thing that we really long for more than anything else is reconnection to the sacred. Asparagus. Here's what you should Google. Asparagus versus cancer. Google that one up. This is what I found out about asparagus, is that asparagus is really something special. Asparagus is different than any other plant in the whole world. It's not a plant like a fruit tree or like a vegetable in your garden or like a normal like root vegetable or a cucumber or anything like that. It's not anything like that. And it's also not a fern. It's in between. But I found this out. As I got deeper and deeper and deeper into herbalism, because I really love herbal systems of the world, and like people are like, oh, you're one of those fanatic raw foodists, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't have anything to do with that. By the way, I don't. I don't have anything to do with those concentration camp victim like raw food people or none of that. I don't have anything to do with that. I want to just stress that. Like I really want to knit together a system that's really workable for all of us, and it's not some wacko thing where you're on sprout diets for like 10 years. It isn't. It's like it's holistic nutrition where we're doing things and always stacking the odds to favor us whenever possible and allowing the good choices to naturally crowd out the bad. That's where we are. We're out of diets. There's no more diet wars, diet battles. You're going to be on that kind of diet, this kind of diet, that, whatever. Where we are is we're on the live it. You're going to start living it. You're going to know battle with yourself, you're going to lose no matter what, right? You battle yourself, you lose, always. So we just drive the bus around it. You drink your water in the morning. The next thing is you get your blender up there and you're like, okay, superfoods, throw that in there, coconut water, he said throw that in there, throw goji berries in there, maca, put that on. Back to our story. Asparagus. So I found out, looking at the herbal literature, that actually asparagus root is in the top 3 herbs in the 2 greatest herbal systems in the world. Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine. Now this is great because this is one of the top herbs in the world. You can have it in a bag and you can walk through customs and they're like, what's that? And you're like, oh, this is like gummy bears. Now cellulite is actually curable. You're like, whoa, whoa. Can we go to that seminar? What the hell are we doing here? Let's go to that seminar. One of the things we got to do on the cellulite business is we got to get off the heavy cottage cheese. You know what I'm saying? The dairy. Now, this is a dairy-eating country. You want to do your goat dairy from your one goat? Fine. You want it raw? Great. You want to do your dairy from your one cow? Cool. But not the homogenized 1,000 cows all at once. So he got through the whole discussion on dairy, and he's like, look, sure, we don't want the bovine growth hormone, right? We don't want this other garbage that's in there, this like chalk that they put in there. There's pus and there's blood in a lot of these dairy products. They're cut with tap water, so it's not actually the real dairy. Then they're taking the only good part out, the fat, and they strip that out. And he's saying that's not even the worst thing. The worst thing is homogenization. Taking 1,000 cows and mixing it all together, that's unnatural. Maca. When we get into superfoods and herbs, much larger energy field, like total electricity. The superfoods and super herbs are that because that's the way it is. Let me talk about herbs for a second. There's 250,000 herbs that are eaten by humans on the earth. That's a lot. That have been eaten by humans on the earth. 250,000, that's a lot. 40,000 of those are institutionalized and organized in herbal systems from around the world, like Chinese medicine and like Ayurvedic medicine. Of all of those, 50 are the super herbs, the tonic herbs, the top of the top of the top of the top. Let me just rephrase this for you guys. I can have the most ridiculous food ever. I could have a cheeseburger. Or I could have maca. It's the same amount of work. It's either this. Watch. Or it's this. Corn. But not just any old corn. This is the best corn in the world, purple corn from South America. Qualitative differences. Is this a Kellogg's cornflake? No. If you want it, if you choose it, you get the best. Why would somebody not choose the best? Here's what the add-on is. Here's what we're adding in. Fruits. That's an add-on. Should they be chemically sprayed? No. Should they be treated with greed? I assume, by the way, that our biggest problem is that the food is grown without love, is picked without love, is shipped without love, is brought to the shop without love and put on the shelf without love, is served without love, and is eaten without love. I assume that that's the biggest problem of all. Just putting that out there, wanted to kind of just drop that in. Vegetables, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. These are all add-ons. Whatever you're doing, just add this stuff in. Now, should you have an entire jar of almond butter? Who here even knows what almond butter is? I grew up on Peter Pan Jiffy peanut butter. I mean, this is peanut butter that has sugar in it. That's what I had for lunch every day, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's a big, bad combination, isn't it? That's bad. What do we do instead? Let's go the raw nuts. And you do need raw nuts, especially for bone density. Here's the unwritten part of it. Calcium, 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 calcium. Does calcium build bones? No. Absolutely not. What do we know about that? Actually makes your bones worse. Here's one of the most important bone building minerals, phosphorus. Where do you find that? Nuts and seeds. Here's another very important bone building mineral, magnesium. Where do you find that? Chocolate has 10 times more magnesium than any other food in the world, which ought to tell you something about chocolate and bone density. And in fact, as we're going to find out, chocolate eaters are the longest lived people in the world. That's the facts. And this is the thing that I love about this is people like Brian Clement. I love Brian. I love the work he's doing. But it's not based on the longevity research. His approach is not based on the longevity research. Because the longevity research clearly shows that foods like chocolate are associated very strongly with longevity. In fact, chocolate is the #1 longevity food there is, which tells us a lot about longevity. We'll get there. So fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And what kind of seeds? Chia seed, flax seed, hemp seed. What else? Pumpkin seed. Sunflower seeds, sesame. Then we go to the next category. Seaweeds. sprouts. Ann Wigmore's book, she was one of the greatest raw food people alive, by the way, ever. She died actually in a fire, and her cause of death was never actually determined, by the way, which is another story. Any Ann Wigmore fans, I actually know a lot about the Ann Wigmore story, and it might have been murder, actually. Actually, I think it was. And she died 94 years old, something like that. And what was she doing? What was her thing? Well, her thing wasn't just wheatgrass. It was sprouts and sprout juice. Sprout juice. And I really like sprouts in a salad. I like getting sprouts in my body because it fills up a lot of space, but there's no calories. So if you want to lose weight, that's a great idea. You have a lot of sprouts, there's no calories. Longevity supplements. What is a sprout? Youthful, young, embryonic, it's growing. Free-form amino acids, great liver detoxifier. Then we've got another food here. It's been 23 minutes. I've gone 3 minutes over time. Can you guys hang in there as geniuses for one more minute? Yes. Hang in there. Grasses, like wheatgrass. What is wheatgrass? Well, wheatgrass is like a bridge that indicates to us that, oh, wait, grasses are edible and actually a natural food for humans. You're thinking, wait, no. Cows eat grass, we can't. He's American, that guy's a moron. We can't eat grass. Idiot. Dude, we can eat grass. You mean we shouldn't vaporize it? Grass is the only food in the world that contains every mineral that's present in the soil. It exactly represents the soil, actually. Anyway, so you start chewing it, and you'll find out something interesting when you're chewing it. That, yeah, you can get the juice out of it, and you do absorb those minerals, but that fiber ain't breaking down no matter what until you do something. This is what the Germans figured out. Until you throw some raw nuts and seeds in your mouth, and all of a sudden it breaks down. So you were told that you can't digest grass. That's wrong. That's false. You can. But you need to stimulate the production of two enzymes, trypsin and chymotrypsin, by eating a small amount of nuts and seeds. And the Germans found out that those two enzymes, trypsin and chymotrypsin, are the premier enzymes that your body produces. Now I'm getting the signal from the crew. They're going. Couple more things here real quick. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, seaweeds, sprouts, grasses, flowers are good. If you eat roses, you know what's going to smell good? Try it. Flowers are great. Nasturtium flowers, passion flower, roses. A lot of people in the chocolate business right around here are actually putting that into their chocolate. Flowers, amazing. Another really important category of food, herbs, like thyme, marjoram, oregano, like common herbs that you put in your food. They play a role, and they actually fill in certain minerals that we need, and that's why they're there. Another very important area that we're going to get into when we come back from the break, superfoods. And probably the most important for a lot of us in this room, super herbs. Those two categories are a big deal. Okay. It's the Amazonian chocolate bar. So let me just tell you where our medicine is at now, just in case you're interested. Basically, the ingredients are cacao, Amazonian jungle peanuts, coconut, Brazil nuts, Quoa rubea funebris, which is a flower that tastes like butterscotch. It's where we get our butterscotch flavor from. Incan berry, cashews, purple corn, maca, acai, lucuma, vanilla bean, stevia, camu, sacha inchi nuts, yacon leaf, clavo huasca, yacon root, Andean salt that comes from a specific hot springs in the Andes. Chuchuhuasi, Tahuari, Conchalagua, Iparuru, Pasuchaca, Hercampori, Pau de Arco, Guayuse, Chancapiedra, Yerba Mate, Catsclaw, Manayupa. This is definitely one of the most interesting chocolate bars in the world. Who wants it? Yeah! Who wants it? Look at you. You get it, man. You come out. That's strong. You come right at me like that, you're going to get it. 75% of the time, women buy chocolate. except the week before Valentine's Day. All right, cool. We have an amazing announcement that we've been working on. I'm going to come back. I'm going to fly over from Toronto. I'm going to come back May 4th, 5th, and 6th. So I'm going to let you know a little bit about that. We're going to have a wonderful event here in the Netherlands. We've got the place reserved already, and we're going to bring up some information about that. So here's the event right here, and this is like an all-day, all-night kind of thing for 2 days. And we're going to get into the specifics. Now, I can't get into like how to get your hormones up naturally with the best things that I know. I'm working on the material of John Lee, Dr. John Lee. John Lee was the first guy to coin the term estrogen dominance. Now, that is the biggest problem that we're facing when we're beyond the age of 50. We're seeing it at earlier and earlier and earlier problems. It is the trigger of hormonal cancers. It is the trigger of breast cancer. It's the trigger of cyst formation. It's a trigger of fibroids. It's a trigger of migraines. It's a trigger of acne. It's a trigger of all different kinds of sleep disorders. And the list goes on. Because people come to me and they got all this stuff, and I've always wondered what the hell's behind all this. And it appears to be all the bad estrogens in the environment, the natural process of building up bad estrogen. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting into this and finding out what the latest technology is on all that. We're going to get into more of the latest and greatest in every area. And in fact, I'm going to do a little teaser on this tonight. So this event's going to end in about, maybe 20, 25 minutes. And then we're going to get deeper into this stuff. I'm going to get deep on B vitamins and what the meaning of that is. We're going to get into the whole thing about probiotics, friendly bacteria, the whole discoveries that are involved with that. We're going to explore the depth of natural hormone builders that naturally drive back the estrogen dominance. In a man, that's more testosterone. In a woman, it's progesterone. And how to do that naturally. We know now that bioidentical hormones work. They work. However, I don't want to be taking that because all of a sudden, then I have to take it forever. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to cover that here. We're going to get much deeper into this cleanse, nourish, and detoxify. We're going to get into specific protocols. One of the things I really like is the hot, cold water therapies, and I'm a big believer in the hot, cold water therapies, so we're actually going to do that. Just kidding. It isn't a place where we might actually be able to do that. This is one of those things. Whenever I get a new assistant, they say to me, okay, I like what you're doing and everything, but I'm not going to do the cold water thing. No. Within 3 months, guess what they're doing? They're telling me, we got to pull over here and jump into the cold water. Because that stuff works. So that's going to be that day. This is going to be every single thing you could ever want to know. We're going to get into super herbs, like to the nth degree, to the best in the world. I'll make sure we have them here too. And there's a lot of it here already, actually. And we're going to get into the inside outs of salt. What kind of salt is good? I'm a sea salt fan, obviously. We're going to get into water deeper. We're going to go very far into the study of minerals, where I'm going to get into the whole study of ormus minerals, which are actually infolded metals. And that's actually the minerals you need. So this trace mineral business is actually a fraud. You actually need 10 times more of these ormus minerals than you need trace minerals, and nobody even knows what these ormus minerals are. How many people here have heard of ormus? Wow, that's a lot. Shocking. Shocking, truth be told. We're going to get into that. Then, the Russians did a lot of research in their country on who lived the longest. They found out that it was people who kept bees. They thought, oh, it's because they're getting stung all the time. That could be going, woo, woo, you're just getting going. They found out that wasn't the reason. They thought, well, maybe it's propolis and royal jelly, or maybe it's even bee pollen, something from the hive that's keeping their immune system up. They found out it wasn't that either. They found out they were honey eaters. And there's this very strong relationship, as we'll see, between honey and longevity. And then they found out that these people were also jumping into ice cold water. That activates your whole system and it brings life. Why is cold water better? Because it has more energy in it. It has more life in it. It's more powerful. They think, no. You're in the tropics. That's where all the fish are. That's where the animals, tropics. Is that true? Cartier and his crew, when they got over to the New World and they got into the St. Lawrence Seaway, they found out, nope, that was the most abundance of life they'd ever seen. They couldn't even believe what was going on. You should research it and look into it. They could not believe what they saw in the St. Lawrence Seaway. Now that is cold water. It's actually almost freezing most of the year. It had the most abundance of life. So I want to just overturn that assumption, because most of this planet, folks, is cold. Just to make you aware of that. And what this whole raw food thing is, and everything that I'm about, is we're opening up to the cold. We're opening up to it. We're not running away from the cold anymore. We're going to build vital nerve force, and we're going into the cold. So we're going to get into that. We're going to go deeper into the psychology of peak performance with goal setting workshop. The way I do it. And I think what I do is the most advanced in the world. And it's setting goals that are in the present tense, like I earn $50 million a year, or whatever your term is. I have the best day ever. It's happening right now. So when you read your goal, it's like, oh, okay, I'm having the best day ever. Perfect. Oh, wait, I earn $50 million a year. Now, you might not earn $50 million a year, but if you keep saying it, if you keep looking at it, if you write it down, that can happen. 50 million euros a year. The opportunities are out there. There's an infinite amount of abundance out there for us. Okay, then we're going to do how to have the best day ever every single day. And we're going to focus on that mantra the entire day, on that particular Sunday. Okay, and then shocking discoveries in self-transformation made in the 20th century. The 20th century was a groundbreaking century for the discovery of transforming ourselves. First of all, one of the great discoveries is the idea you could have a different diet. Like you think, well, what do you mean? I can change my diet. You are so fortunate that you're one of the people who are born on this earth who actually knows you can change your diet. That was never known before. If you're a Native American born in America way back 1,000 years ago, there was no consciousness or thought of any other diet than what the tribe ate. That's it. I want to just point that out because that's an assumption that we have that, like, oh, you have an ecosystem, there's only one way to live in this ecosystem. That's completely ridiculous. We just made that up. So we're going to go into that research about how you can carve out a way of life out of every ecosystem that you're in. We're going to get into the brand new you at the most fundamental level. And what does that mean? We're going to get into the tissue cleansing system that I put together called the Longevity Now program. And that's really a tissue cleansing system where you're rooting out, you're driving out all the calcification out of your system. There is something that every disease condition has in common. Calcification. Is that why you should be taking calcium supplements? Do calcium supplements work? Whatever you do, don't take calcium supplements, because if you do, you're going to be dead faster. It's just you're just dumping chalk into your body, and your body's going, this is like Gollum in the Gears, please stop. No, no, no. And we're going to get into the whole discovery of calcification, what it means, and what really is taking us out. Parasites. But not the tapeworm and not the candida and that kind of stuff, which, yeah, that's taking us out. But a deeper level, parasites. I can't say that word in America. It's illegal, because that's why we have a free country. But I can say it here. Actually, what's happening is the calcification is taking us out early. What's a heart attack? Plaque formation. What's the plaque? Calcium. What's the cataract? Calcium. What's the hard of hearing? The hard stuff? Calcium. What's Alzheimer's? Brain sand. What's that? Calcium. What's a kidney stone? Calcium. You see where we're going here? What's liver cirrhosis? Calcium buildup in the liver. Really? Yep. What's arthritis? Calcium buildup. What's a stroke? Calcium buildup. We can just every disease. Psoriasis, eczema. What's that? Calcium buildup. So there's a real big story in that. We're going to break that whole thing down. And then we're going to get into activating genius, where I'm going to get into formulas of activating genius, like food you can eat. Look, I love all the success gurus. I love it. But they miss something, and they miss something really big. And that is you could eat to transform yourself radically. We're going to get into blueberry, cacao, DHA, reishi mushroom, coconut, mega hydrate, superhero smoothies that actually do activate genius, and start stacking some of that stuff together. If you want to know where that recipe is, it's on page 161 of my Superfoods book. Look at that page. It's in there. Okay, and then longevity is a success strategy. I'm going to hint on all this tonight. We're going to go through it. But longevity is a success strategy. You're here long enough, guess what? You're having a good time, right? If you're here long enough, it's all good. Okay, so I think we're going to let's do the next image here. We're going to do all of that at this location. What's the name of that location? There it is. Okay, it's the Résidence Fontaine Royale. So near Amsterdam, very close to this area. And we're going to just do it for a limited number of participants, so we're going to kind of keep it small so we can really go deep. And I really actually only want people who are committed. I don't want people who are going to come in there and go, my aunt has a fungal toe, what do we do? And the best of the best, by the way, is always the softest. Right? People are like, I can't take herbs. Well, sure, oregano, that stuff tastes, pretty intense. It's like, geez. But when you get on real stuff like chaga or reishi, it's soft. And then when you deliver it through a system that your body goes, yep, we want to do this, called chocolate. You see where that goes? Like that smoothie in the morning, so we drink water, then we got the smoothie. What's going to be in there? Every goodie that we understand, maca, chaga mushroom, blue-green algae, goji berry, and then cacao. So, we understand that. It's like, okay, boom, I can understand that. We drink that, and then you just let nature take its course. We tapped into a little bit of the play between food, superfoods, and super herbs, as much as we could get into here. We found out that we could mix all of these things together in a drink. Now let's go through that drink again. Let's say you had a little cacao, a little maca, a little goji berry. Maybe we had a little bit of blue-green algae in there, and then maybe we got some reishi mushroom powder, maybe a little chaga powder. Say we didn't want to do coconut water. Say we didn't have tea. Well, maybe we could pour coffee in there. We got there, didn't we? We got it. We covered it. Now, when you do that one, your head blows off, that's the end. Because when you do that one, I don't know if some people in here drink coffee, I assume. You don't have to admit it. I know who you are. It's basically a superfood mocha coffee. And the reishi and the chaga actually cancel out the weak acids of the coffee so you don't get the hit. You put a little bit of salt in there to cancel out some of those weak acids so you don't get the caffeine adrenal hit in the way that you normally get it, which is like basically being hit over the head with a bat. And instead it hits you like a pillow. There's so much opportunity in this health business. This is the next $1 trillion industry, actually. This whole health industry this is it. This is where it's happening. What you're asking me is, can you take tap water, which, by the way, every municipal water system in the world is contaminated with radioactive tritium, which is radioactive hydrogen. You can't filter it out. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't get it out of the water. It's in the water. And there's also the major contaminant of tap water. Do you know what the major contaminant of tap water is? Medicine. Fluoride. It's toilet paper. And I got news for you, it's used toilet paper. Check it out. Number one contaminant of tap water is toilet paper, and it's used toilet paper. So here's what you do. You get filters on everything. So you get filters on your whole house. So you're washing your clothes with filtered water, everything coming out of your tap, showering filtered, everything a filter, or else you are going to become a filter. Get spring water, get it in glass. If you want to bathe in your water, great, as long as it's filtered. If you want to wash your clothes in it, great, as long as it's filtered. You want to wash your dishes in the water, great, as long as it's filtered. Drinking it, absolutely no way. No way. Not unless you want to be rolling the dice. That's crazy. Oh, no. Wrong. Mexico City, 1,000 years ago. Guess what they piped into Mexico City with an aqueduct? Spring water. Guess what the Romans brought into Rome? Spring water. They were onto it. They weren't screwed up by this nonsense. But later, as the empire declined, then they got into pipes. Water doesn't move in pipes. Water does this. As soon as it goes like this, that, it loses its spin, which in quantum physics means it loses its youth. It ages. This is how it was done. This can be done. And you know what? It's cheaper and more natural and less environmentally destructive than copper. We lost that fight. We lost that fight 120 years ago, 130 years ago. Here's where I'm at. I love the best raw food in the world, and there's people here who make the best raw food ever. It's just amazing. But ultimately, here's where I'm at. I'm on superfoods and herbs. That's where I'm at. Because I don't need all that food anymore. I did need it. I had to go through that process. I had to trim it down. I had to get to a point where I had to go through the disciplines and learn the disciplines. But inevitably, where you end up is, you don't need all that food. Where did you find that? That was a trampoline at a wedding. I'm not gay. People are like, he's gay. Here, you know what my goal is? Being right here. This is the most fun for me. I do this on my birthday. This is the funnest thing ever for me. When you're doing what you love every day, all day long, then you are happy. And the addictions are gone. And you're really winning. Here's another thing we're really going to dive into in the training. We're going to get into that longevity strategy for you. And we're going to outline it. This is so powerful. I got to just put this out there. Get into what you're going to do, not what you're not going to do. Get really into what you will do. Forget about what you won't do.
Today is the best day ever.
What's today?
It's the best ever.
All right.